but I believe the great is still yet to come. I won't stop fighting, man, until I'm done.
Good morning and welcome to the 63rd Breakfast Ball. Wow. Well, by the way, happy St. Patrick's Day, because this show is coming out on St. Patrick's Day. So how about that? Wow, I wrote down actually a miss typo here. This is the 623rd Breakfast Ball. That would make this... yeah, that'll be years. And
yeah,
we're not that old, so all right. Anyway, with that said, I am your host, Bob Cardia. To my left, guys, back in studio. I know the masses have been blowing up the internet wanting the dashing Richie Stoltz back, and he is back today and better than ever. So good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So we've had some good guests the past couple weeks. I'll tell you what, though. We haven't talked about you in a while. Richie's always, free with the comments and whatnot, but, Richie's golf resume has been quite impressive also along the way. I know he wasn't a starter at that point, but he was on the Methodist team when they won the national championship. Mm-hmm. Then he transferred to us and was our number one player, and he made first team All-Conference and first team All-American. So for those of you who did not know, he's more than just a pretty face.
I don't even know if I'm that.
I don't know. That's we're going with that because this is a podcast. Anyway, so it's crazy as it always is, right? Because we start these seasons every year, and like this winter have been particularly crappy weather-wise. So like you go from teaching maybe 10, 20, 25 of your lucky lessons a month, and then the high school season starts. And I got back from my vacation. And the first 2 days I'm back, I had, 17 or 18 lessons, and 15 of them were all the high school kids. They're taking a lesson on a Saturday for tryouts on Monday. And some of them were a long time, but I mean, come on. I want each and every one of the kids I to work with, and there's 2 or 3 of them in there that, they have talent. Mm-hmm. But, you can't show up 48 hours before. Well, you can. I mean, we appreciate your business for sure, but, if you truly want to be great at something, you got to put in the time and the effort. So I called today starting fresh. New season, new year, new you, right?
Yeah.
So I want to make today about Richie, because Richie and I have had some good conversations lately, not as long as I'd like, but about what you're doing this year. So I want to discuss, your plans for the year. So I saw this quote about starting fresh. Your new life is going to cost you your old one. And some people look at that and say, "Oh, that's a bad thing." I actually think that's a good thing. Yeah. So, to point, that quote's powerful, right? You like that one?
Yeah, no, I do. Real quick, I'm going to comment on one thing. Shout out to Aaron, because you mentioned the high school kids, who shot his best score, 41, in tryouts yesterday. Let's go, Aaron.
Aaron, absolutely. That is, 100%. And I actually, the new coach or new assistant coach at that high school is one of our former players who, I think it's cosmic. Aaron is putting his time in, and you've done a lot of work with him. So, get in there, brother. Get in there. Just remember what.
When you're rich and famous, we get 10%.
Okay.
That's all Aaron has to remember.
Right.
I remind him. Don't worry.
Exactly.
I remind him.
Good. All right. So, if you have the desire, you have to match it with the discipline. So here we go. What have you done this off season, or what are you doing now, or possibly what are you planning on doing in the future differently to achieve your goals? Because you're playing in 18 events this year. So what's the game plan for the Dashing Richie Stoltz?
Well, I am definitely working on, because that's a lot of tournaments.
That's a lot of
tournaments.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm working on is strength and conditioning. So I'm in the gym every day.
You still doing TPI, or you're doing it on your own?
I'm doing it on my own.
Okay.
TPI was a little... I love Dave,
yeah.
But it was just getting a little costly for me. So, Dave, I still love you. Don't forget that. I still love you, Dave.
And honestly, once you get... no, Dave,
it was just out of the budget, unfortunately.
Yeah, I get that. But once you do it for a year or two, I mean, you have the general program anyway.
Yeah. So, definitely doing that, because I got to... There's one stretch on my calendar that if I qualify into the New Jersey Open, I play for 5 days straight,
Nice.
tournament golf.
Well, that's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But that needs some conditioning involved, or else I'm
Yes,
just
it
going to be
does.
beat tired.
Yes, it does.
So that, I'm working on my wedges. Obviously, we all know that that's...
Huge.
Yeah, I got to get the ball close to the hole. So I've just been grinding on my wedges. It's so hard sometimes to
Mhm.
get yourself away from just wanting to hit full swing iron shots and getting down to just
It's
hitting
good,
wedges,
you know,
but it's so much more important.
It's like when I talked to Billy McGinnis. Like he's like he and he's a great player. He hits a lot of short game shots. He said he doesn't hit his long swings often because he's for some reason naturally good at them. As are you. Like
Yeah.
you know, we have conversations. I'm not bringing this up because you and I debated the hell out of this week, but. You know, lengthening, tipping out golf courses, all that kind of good
It's a
stuff.
driver hole.
By the way, I'm not. But anyway, you know, for guys like Richie and apparently Billy and whatnot that naturally hit their driver super well, it's an interesting golf game because you know you have to map golf courses out as perspective as you play them. Fortunately for you, and unfortunately for most people don't hit their tee shots as accurately and as long as you do.
You know, he says I naturally hit it well. I think he forgets conferences.
Well, you were, well,
when I handed you my driver and said, "Don't let me see this
well,
for 2
there's
days."
always rarities to it. Yeah, for sure. I know. I like the one day that you and I played at Scramble where we were like 17, 18 under, 2 men. Remember that?
20.
Yeah, whatever. We were 20 under. Yeah, okay. That was. Yeah, I don't think I missed the fairway that day. And like some days are just that way. I know, but it's it's yes, I get it. So all right, so you're working on your wedges. So you know, we talk about this, and you know, that actually Adam Bracey and I discussed it last week. You know, because he's now a financial planner as addition to being a really good player. Planning. So Hale Irwin's book, again, which I don't know how many people read it. I did, you know, but it he discussed working on, you know, what you need to work on. So you're looking at your numbers. People tend to practice what they're good at. So if the dashing Richie Stoltz has a weakness, what would that be?
My wedges.
I was going to say, don't say fast food.
Well, that is a weakness. The Dunkin' Donuts $6 box, that's a weakness.
Oh, that's good there, right? I mean, yeah.
It's a great deal.
It is
That's
a
a
great
great
deal.
deal. Anyway.
We're going after this, actually. So, right,
I know, that's why I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. So just, you know, folks, this is the time of year for us, right? So we were discussing this earlier. Okay. I don't know, it's like 7-something in the morning right now. I got up like 5:15. So 5:15, you know, just make sure we get everything lined up on my ducks in a row. Then we have the 7:30, you know, podcast. Then we do shorts, and then we have staff meeting at 8:15. Then we have a couple errands bank. Then we have Rutgers meeting at 10. Then we have Rutgers rounds at noon. And then personally, my daughter's got dance tonight. It's, you know, this time of year is like juggling chainsaws. But anyway, so wedges, okay. So now, and is that, you discussed putting in the past? You feeling a little bit better about your putting?
Yeah, I've always mentioned putting as a weakness,
Yep.
but I think if I look at putting as a whole, I don't know if it really is a weakness as much as it is.
Distance from the hole?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, I don't like just thinking about it, and I'll never tell you putting is not important.
No.
Obviously, but when it comes, especially for me, most importance on the golf course,
Yeah.
if I don't get the ball close to the hole, I will not make birdies, and I tend to blame my putting on that.
Mhm.
I don't 3-putt a lot.
Yeah.
I don't 3-putt a lot. I don't miss a lot of short putts. I barely ever miss them. So it's really just that range that I feel like should go in but doesn't go in, and I have a feeling that's outside the flagstick range. And I'll tell you my putting's bad because of it, but I don't think it really is.
Mhm.
I don't know.
No, that makes
I
sense
think
to me.
it's more so proximity to the hole, and you know, if you look at it, you take a 4-iron and it's probably not going to end up that close to the hole. And you take an 8-iron and kind of the same thing. It's probably not going to end up that close. But you take a wedge, and now we have a scoring club in our hand. And that, I think, if I want to actually shoot low scores, I can go out there almost every round and shoot something pretty solid.
Yeah.
But if I want to go low, I got to get my wedges close to the hole. So
Yeah.
I've been grinding on my wedges because I think that's my biggest weakness.
It's interesting because that's Jamie Slonis we had, who was
Yeah.
your senior Crum Cup champion. You know, the guys that are closer to my age that are still competitive are hitting the ball a longer way, and with the golf courses being longer, yeah, I mean, one of the keys when you hit a long drive is that you have a wedge in your hand. You know, the statistics on hitting like you said, an 8-iron versus a wedge are pretty significant.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Anderson, because it's always one of those things when you talk about the number one scoring stat on the PGA Tour or any tour, it's greens and regulation. And Kevin hit like 16 greens one day, and I don't know if it Kevin comes.
Yeah.
It's greens and reg. I still shot 76. Da, 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 da. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, there's part two to that story, which is the Dave Pell's Golden 8, right? And really, the stat is nobody on the planet makes more than 20% of their putts outside of 10 feet with any regularity. So it's yes, greens and reg is a huge statistic. But if you're playing a golf course that has big greens, and you're constantly, that's what I had him do. I said, how many times were you within a flag stick of the hole?
Yeah.
And he went through all, whatever, 16 greens that he hit. He's like, you know what, not once. I'm like, you know what? Statistically speaking, you're going to 3-putt a couple times and 2-putt the rest of the time. And, oh, well, that makes sense. So that's where, to get you to be from a solid A player to mini tour, we're gonna have to put the wedges within 8 feet of the hole. That's our goal. All right, well, good. So, what do you do? Is there any specific thing in preparation wise you're doing? Or are you using the?
I'm just using the simulator Big Swing. I typically go to hole 1 at Pine Valley because it's just a nice basic flat green.
Yeah, yes, in the simulator.
For the most part, yeah, in the simulator, not on the golf course, in the simulator, and I'm able to put like an 6-foot, 8-foot, 10-foot, 12-foot circle around the hole, so that way when I hit the shot, I can see, am I within 8 feet or am I just outside of it, or stuff like that. And I'll just kind of move myself back. I'll start at maybe 60 yards and I'll jump up to 62, then maybe 65, 74.
Like
and I'm just going a couple different numbers, trying to use clock system obviously. To get it in the circle.
Yeah, we were looking at the clock the other day. That was good. Yeah, excellent. Good.
Yeah.
All right, folks. See, so Richie is now doing something different this year. Okay. Well, not different, but I guess you're just drilling down more on what you need to drill down on.
Yeah, I'm focusing more, because it isn't anything different. I've done this before. But it's trying to get a little bit more specific with the wedges and back off the irons more. I am focusing on one thing with the irons, and that's just trying to not come too far from the inside, because I'm still hitting these massive hooks.
Yeah, overdrive.
So I am trying to work on that too, but that's kind of secondary.
You have a lot of rotation.
Yeah, so more of that is honestly for my wedges, because I notice I block a lot of wedges. You don't get a lot of curvature on a wedge.
Yeah.
So, they kind of get stuck out to the right. My club path is way out to the right.
Yeah, see, that makes sense to me, because just with your hip rotation, because I show your swing as an example a lot of times to students, and you have a lot of movement. So yeah, I could actually see that as a ball flight thing for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna
again, that one's secondary.
This is our year, baby. We're gonna get there this year.
Distance control, but that's just something else that I am I've had in the back of my mind trying to focus on a little bit.
That's great. Folks out there, keep your fingers crossed. That we want Richie to make some cuts this year. And the more cuts he makes, the more we'll be talking about it on the podcast for sure. So, heading in different directions. We have our first meeting at Rutgers today after the first round of tryouts. So, I always do news and notes and observations, and it's interesting. The for a lot of our players that are trying to get to the next level, I had the quote there. They've given too much time in their mind to people who have doubted them, and people that they've given credit to, that they value their opinions, when you realize maybe they shouldn't have been valuing their opinions. So we do an adaptation of that for the golf school. So every staff meeting we had, and we've had now hundreds of them, what's the last thing we put on the sheet at the
New ideas.
New ideas, yeah, heading a different direction. And as Richie would say, I love new ideas. Some of the best things that we've done have stemmed out of that last few minutes of the meeting. So, just talking about a few new things this year. I'm supposed to leave these pages next to each other so they don't make noise, but I didn't do it anyway. The high school program. We're rolling it out this year, folks. For any high school coaches or players that are watching, we're looking to make it a 9-hole competition that starts after the high school season, and it's probably going to go 6 weeks, 4 weeks of regular scoring, and then after the 4 weeks of scoring, then it's going to go down to a match play competition. That's how it's drawn out right now. That's something that I think is going to be exciting for a lot of the high school players. I think by next week we should probably have all the details nailed down on that. And then also, Richie, you're going to launch a program that we discussed for juniors, a fun type of golf program. So why don't you talk a little bit about that?
So I think we're calling it Ignite Golf. I don't know if you guys ever seen what snag golf looks like, but it's almost it's a tennis ball, and it's a plastic golf club. It's for the kids. It'll be a learning environment, but it's going to be a little bit more along the lines of the fun side, and you'll pretty much be hitting at a ton of targets that we're going to have out there, and the ball's going to stick to them. Kids are going to jump up and down, get excited, and I mean, how could you not want to come?
Absolutely. I'm excited. I'm going to join.
Yeah.
Because I am an overgrown child.
Same here.
Exactly right. That's
you think I want to do this for the kids?
We're not even going to let the kids in. We're having tennis balls all day long. Anyway, so summary, fresh start. This is new year, new you in the golf season. So if you're looking, and if you haven't started already, and technically you should have been starting months ago on this, but if you're just starting now because it was a crappy winter, identify areas of need, approach them with fresh perspective, and evaluate people in your life. I'm not telling you to cut anybody out, but let me tell you what, I've had this discussion with many people that were close to me throughout the years. If they're not adding value to your life, you gotta say, is that person worth as much time as I'm giving them? So, and if they don't, if that doesn't, it has to do with discipline. If that doesn't match up with your goals, well then you know what? If they don't support your goals, again, new year, new you, fresh start. Anyway, on that, I don't know if it's a positive or somber. It's a good note. You know what? Let's go. We're all about growth here. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe. Right? The more subscribers we get, the more we can spread the word. And again, if you get something out of this podcast and you become rich and famous,
we get 10%.
We do get 10%. Yes, that would be nice. And last but not least, if you write, I love the breakfast ball. Oh, we had a new winner this week. Actually, at the staff meeting, I can't remember the person's name, but we're going to be sending a Starbucks gift card out to a new winner rather than the same 3 or 4 people that always win. We had a new winner this week, so we're going to be sending that gift card out. So just for I love the breakfast ball in the comment section, and we go into a drawing, and you can possibly win a Starbucks gift card. So how about that? Anyway, thanks for watching again this week, and this was our 63rd breakfast ball, so we're getting somewhere. We got some really good guests coming up the next few weeks, so just keep staying tuned. Again, I'm your host, and to my left, to your right,
the dashing Richie Stoltz.
Keep it straight. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
I'm going to go get my $6 Dunkin' box.
Yeah, let's go.
Glass of bourbon, ha. My bourbon, ha. My bourbon, ha. Alcohol, because no great story ever started with I'll have a salad.